What's up everyone and welcome back to the MMA Zone. Today, let's get started with Charles Oliveira breaks silence on UFC allegations. Charles Oliveira's withdrawal from his scheduled UFC 294 fight with Islam Makhachev caught many members of the MMA community by surprise, given that the scheduled fight was right around the corner. The way top-ranked welterweight Belal Muhammad saw things, however, Oliveira never wanted to fight in Abu Dhabi in the first place, and as a result, backed out at the last minute when faced with adversity instead of fighting anyway. During a recent interview with Inside Fighting, Oliveira fired back at Muhammad. All these guys, they live their lives talking a bunch of shit about me. All these guys haven't achieved what I've achieved. That's the truth. His focus should be to train and dedicate himself to beating the guys in his weight class and stop talking about me. This week, Islam Makhachev also notably stated that he would not be ready to fight again until March, meaning that the fight likely won't happen until UFC 300 at the absolute earliest given the promotion's pay-per-view schedule. Next up, let's take a look at Dustin Poirier reveals next UFC fight. In the wake of his UFC 291 loss to Justin Gaethje, Dustin Poirier has set his sights on a return to the lightweight division, dismissing talk of a potential move to welterweight given that he walks around near the 170-pound limit. While Poirier has not called for a fight with a specific fighter, he has stated that when the right name is offered to him, he'll know to accept. This week, Poirier took to social media, simply writing UFC 300. The event is expected to take place in April of next year, and with UFC 297 set to take place in January, UFC 298 set to take place in February, and UFC 299 set to take place in March. The post sparked widespread reactions from fans, who were quick to go to work theorizing as to who his opponent could be. Despite Poirier being uninterested in a fight at welterweight, one fan wrote, "Dustin, in my opinion, you should fight at 170. There's a lot more interesting fights up there for you, I feel." Another fan wrote, "UFC 300, Poirier vs Gaethje 3, given that Gaethje is likely to wait on the sidelines until Makhachev vs Oliveira 2 takes place next year. With the McGregor vs Chandler fight expected for UFC 300, one fan had another idea, writing, "Backup fighter for Conor vs Chandler?" With the UFC 300 event expected to feature a number of high-profile fights, one member of the MMA community went to work on several potential matchups, writing, "McGregor vs Chandler, Jamahal vs Adesanya, Poirier vs winner Dan Hooker vs Bobby Green, UFC 300. In addition, a fight with the winner of the upcoming Beneil Dariush vs Arman Tsarukyan fight would make sense, as well as a fight with number 6 ranked Mateusz Gamrot. However, Poirier has indicated that he's only interested in fights that truly excite him and has not shown a big interest in a fight with Dariush in the past. Next up, let's take a look at Aljamain Sterling reacts to Sean OMalleys' next UFC fight. This week, UFC CEO Dana White announced 3 blockbuster main events for the new year, including a rematch between Sugar Sean OMalley and Chito Vera as the UFC 299 headliner in March. The event will see OMalley look to avenge the only loss on his record, while also defending the bantamweight title for the first time. While the news of the fight excited many members of the MMA community, others were quick to wonder why, if Sterling was not getting a rematch, Merab Dvalishvili wasn't getting a crack at the title. In a post on social media, reacting to a fan's reaction to the fight, Sterling wrote, "I was coming off a 5-round scrap with a former 2-division champion, Sugar, not even coming off 2 RDs and had a 10-month break. One thing about life is that sometimes you have to take the beaten paths to get where you want to be. I'll earn mine again, or do my best trying." In a follow-up, Sterling touched on the fight between he and OMalley at UFC 292, writing, "Man, how are you guys still dead on this hill? You know how many fights I've had with a torn labrum and or neck in crucial pain? I fought OMalley with banged up legs. OMalley fought me with a tweaked rib. We all take risks. Please stop. No different from the majority of the roster." After one fan pointed out that OMalley was eager to defend the title before the end of the year, but was unable to do so partly because of the UFC schedule, the former bantamweight champ responded, writing, "LOL, but when I was banged up, Sean attacked me saying I wasn't trying to defend and to stop complaining. Irony looks good today. Good luck to the champ. Hopefully it's a good fight." With OMalley set to defend the bantamweight title in the new year, it's unclear when Sterling will return to the octagon and who his next opponent will be. Now, let's shift gears and take a look at Daniel Cormier reacts to Ian Garry, Leon Edwards situation. As Ian Machado Garry looks to continue his climb up the UFC's welterweight rankings, he will not be training at Team Renegade in England, where champion Leon Edwards trains. According to Garry, the team was not comfortable with him training there, given his status as a rising contender, while the team pointed to Garry's nomadic approach to training as the reason they closed their doors. The way Hall of Famer Daniel Cormier sees things, there's nothing wrong with how Edwards and Team Renegade are operating, given that Garry has already shown that he's willing to fight a teammate. He spoke in a video for his YouTube channel alongside Ben Askren to discuss the situation.
Ian Garry's fighting Vicente Luque. Those guys shared the mats at Killcliff, one of his actual teams, for years. And the moment they were given the opportunity to fight, they took it. So I think that may be part of the reason Leon Edwards is going, I don't know if I want this guy in my gym learning my skill set, learning what we do as a team, I can't blame him.
With a win over Vicente Luque to close out the year, Garry will likely find himself in a position to fight a top 5 contender at welterweight, meaning that he and Edwards could share the octagon together in a not-so-distant future if both continue to win. Next, let's take a look at Jiri Prochazka reveals game plan for Alex Pereira. This weekend, former light heavyweight champion Jiri Prochazka will square off with former 2-division Glory kickboxing champion Alex Pereira in the main event of UFC 295 for the vacant light heavyweight title. The bout will see Prochazka look to make his successful return to the octagon after what Dana White said UFC doctors called the worst shoulder injury they've ever seen. Leading up to the fight, Prochazka spoke with Shaq MMA to discuss his game plan going into the fight with another knockout artist like Pereira after his previous clash with Glover Teixeira.
He have a high-level experience from kickboxing. The specialty is that he turned his kickboxing style to the MMA style, yeah, and he found a way how to do that. And everybody have some style which they fighting, and I have my style. And also for this fight with Alex, I had to change a little bit, yeah. Especially after my last fight with Glover, where was a lot of mistakes which I had to change.
Heading into the fight, the expectation is that the two men will keep things on the feet. However, after Prochazka submitted to Teixeira, some have wondered whether we could see history repeat itself this weekend at UFC 295. Next, let's take a look at Ariel Helwani responds to Jamal Hill. Ariel Helwani's recent spat with former 2-division title challenger Chael Sonnen landed him in the crosshairs of Jamal Hill recently. In a video for his YouTube channel, Hill took aim at Helwani, calling him a number of names while also referencing his own previous beef with Helwani. On the MMA Hour this week, Helwani fired back at the former light heavyweight champion, refuting Hill's claim that he went to his manager behind the scenes when the two were beefing, and addressing his back and forth with Sonnen.
So let me just explain something real quick to Jamal and to everyone who has weighed in on this. Chael's my friend. Even though he said things about me, he's still my friend. He's still my friend. I texted him that in the middle of the show, and I said it to him on Thursday. He considers me his friend. Friends are able to talk to each other in a different kind of way. Bygones be bygones. You don't understand that because he's not your friend and I'm not your friend. So you're weighing in, just like Jiri was saying, about something you don't know shit about.
Of course, as former bantamweight champion Aljamain Sterling stated, as a Long Island native, he knows that heated conversations among friends can get tense. However, he believed Helwani and Sonnen's argument was a step up from that. Despite that, it doesn't sound like there's any bad blood between Helwani and the American gangster. Next, let's take a look at Jorge Masvidal sends warning to Colby Covington. Former UFC title challenger Jorge Masvidal finally closed the book on an alleged attack on Colby Covington this week when he and his lawyers reached a plea deal with the state of Florida. Although Masvidal was facing multiple felony charges and a misdemeanor battery charge for the alleged attack, he says that the beef between he and his former friend isn't over. Speaking to Ariel Helwani on the MMA Hour this week, after pleading guilty to the misdemeanor battery charge in exchange for the felonies being dropped, Masvidal threatened to knock the rest of Covington's teeth out, saying,
let's just say there's a couple months getting slapped sooner rather than later. I don't know when, but me and Colby gonna see each other at some point, whether it's in a cage or I don't know where the it's gonna be, but we're gonna see each other for him lying on my name, for him pressing charges, for everything that he's done. We are gonna see each other. It's gonna be fun, man. It's gonna be interesting. Okay. You know, I'm gonna knock the rest of his teeth out.
While Masvidal is currently retired, there have been indications that he will fight again in the new year. When Helwani asked him point blank whether he would be competing in 2024, he said that he's been in discussions with the UFC regarding his contract. The comment sparked widespread theories among fans, given that the former BMF didn't state whether he would return to compete in the UFC or look to compete in a boxing match. As he stated several times since his retirement, he would be open to boxing if the UFC allows him to, meaning his meetings with the UFC could be to get out of his contract. Conor McGregor goes off and calls out Islam Makhachev for cheating. He posted this on Twitter: KO'd unconscious and caught on steroids. MMA's current pound for pound #1. What a sport, with a laughing emoji. Conor's referencing an incident back in 2016 when Islam tested positive for meldonium on an out-of-competition urine sample. Meldonium reduces oxygen consumption within cellular structures, and it significantly boosts an athlete's endurance and tolerance for increased physical workloads. Top comments: Sean Strickland got pissed the second he found out he was going to fight in Canada. Interim belt for Tom versus Sergey is disrespectful to these guys, and disrespect to the heavyweight division. John should release the belt and not have the whole division wait on him to recover, yet Dana will leave it at this. Shaking my head. Jorge can't accept he got his beat fair and square. At least Lewis was trying to make it a fight. Almeida just made it a boring hugging contest. Yes, he got Lewis down many times, but did literally nothing but hold him down. No damage at all. I'll personally never want to see him fight again. Sleaze. Dana always keeps his word. Also, Dana says Conor versus Mayweather would never happen. DDP would get next crack at Izzy for the belt. Khamzat Usman winner would be the next fight for Strickland. Women will never fight for the UFC. We don't do gimmick fights, then immediately tries to put together an Elon/Zuck fight. Make sure to leave a comment and you might get featured in our next video. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed, make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications to never miss any MMA news. Check out our video from yesterday if you missed it. See you tomorrow.